One of these two players has said multiple times that he's going to come back to the Florida Panthers. The other has sent subtle hints about his return. Who can replace one of these two guys if he decides to walk? Who are the unrestricted free agents the Panthers could potentially target and bring in? I'll break down who they are, what their cap hit could be, and why they would be a good fit for this Panthers team. Guys, thank you for joining me on this episode of Panthers Digest. I'm your host, Greg Andrews, and hit that subscribe button down below. You guys need to stay up to date with anything and everything that has to do with your back-to-back Stanley Cup champion, Florida Panthers. So, Sam Bennett has come out on multiple occasions and said that he wants to stay here in Florida and be a Florida Panther, pretty much sign that long-term deal. How much will it be for? How long will it be for? Well, that remains to be seen. The contract negotiations, I'm sure, have just begun. Same thing with Aaron Ekblad. There's whisperings here about that, which I talked about in the last video. And as for Brad Marchand, well, that's going to be a discussion for a different day. He's put out some subtle hints as when he was at the Elbow Room, that's a club or actually a bar in Fort Lauderdale where they celebrated after they won the Stanley Cup, where somebody asked him if he was going to return. He said, "I'm not leaving." Put up that, which means I'm assuming he's probably saying 4 more years, but we'll see. He is Brad Marchand. He was pounding him down for the last 2-3 days and celebrating with the team as he should. But whatever he says, whatever's coming out of his mouth, I don't know if you could really say wholeheartedly with 100% certainty he means it or not. We will see. He did say that, Bill Zito, just, give me the contract. Whatever it is, I'm not going to say wholeheartedly that yes, he's going to return, but I'm saying these subtle hints that are there, like he said in yesterday's celebration in Fort Lauderdale when he was on stage. He said, "Thank goodness I don't have to keep playing against all of these guys anymore, and I don't have to get knocked out by Bennett anymore." There's another, I don't know if it's just a Freudian slip, and speaking like he is going to remain a part of this team, or is he going to seek out free agency and try to get more money? Again, that's a conversation that we're going to have tomorrow and for future episodes. But right now, what we're going to do is discuss who is out there that the Florida Panthers could possibly pick up in free agency. So, Sam Bennett, Brad Marchand, the two big pieces. I think those are the two guys the Panthers really need to put their eyes on and put most of the money into. I've said this in the last video that I think Aaron Ekblad isn't necessarily worth that, $7 to $8 million that I think his AAV is at, because he did have his best postseason in his career. But I still think with his injuries in the past, he hasn't had that many full seasons of playing. The PED suspension, has his body had too much wear and tear? How much risk is really involved with signing him, I would say, to a long-term deal? I could see something more short-term happening just so that the Panthers don't have to be as risky with a long-term contract in terms of sticking with a short-term. Maybe a 4-year deal, give him something in that, $5 to $6 million range. I think it's only fair he does take a bit of a cut, considering they paid him $7.5 million for 8 years. I'm sorry, $7 million a year for 8 years, which is $60 million. I think he needs to take a little bit of a discount, even though he did have one of his best years in the postseason. So, rambling on too much, let's get into this, guys. So, who is number one on this list? Well, it's Mikael Granlund. The reason why I really like him, yes, he's a little bit older. He is 33 years old. He's only 5'10", 185 pounds, but Brad Marchand is 5'8". He's a lot smaller. Yes, he's a better player, but Granlund had one heck of a year this year. 22 goals, 44 assists, 28 penalty minutes. That's all he had. He doesn't commit penalties all that frequently, and that's something I think the Panthers would love to have. And his experience, he's a veteran. And you don't need to sign him for a long-term deal. You could do something more short-term. You'll have less of a cap hit, and we'll get into the numbers in just a second. But his time on ice, almost 20 minutes a game, and he played 82 games this year. The guy's got longevity. I think he would be a great fit. Now, he's not the greatest defender, and I wouldn't say that he is this big-time offensive target, but he does a great job of moving the puck up ice. He's very efficient at moving that into the offensive zone and efficiently in transition, He leads the way. He's a great passer, but there are some areas of his game that should be improved. And I do think that with a great year that he just had, if they need to find somebody to fill that roster spot, if Marchand is gone, he would be a good guy to do it. Again, another veteran presence. It's not Brad Marchand, but that veteran presence, he's a scrappy dude too. Really good year, and I'll get into the more deep numbers in just a second. And then here's his playoffs. The playoff numbers: 5 goals, 5 assists, 8 penalty minutes, 17 and a half minutes time on ice. He played 18 games. So the 10 points this postseason might not seem that grandiose compared to some of the other players that are on the Panthers. Not obviously not as good as the 10 and 10 that Brad Marchand brought this postseason, which was the second best postseason of his career. But Mikael Granlund can be a difference maker. He is still younger than Brad Marchand, and he's not going to command the dollar amount that Brad Marchand is going to be looking for. But again, this is where the Panthers have that little bit of leverage. And again, I'm just going to keep saying this. Please stop bringing up the state tax, but I am going to bring it up this time. This is not necessarily a benefit for the Panthers. It is, but it isn't. It's a double-edged sword at times, because guys could say, hey, you know what? I still want to get more money, even though if I go somewhere else, I still want the same dollar amount coming here. I'll take a little bit less, but not $2.5–3 million less, which is the tax that comes out if I went somewhere else. And let's say Marchand gets the $8 million and he goes to wherever, and there is state tax, that money coming out. I mean, these players could still be greedy and say, you know what? I still want to get paid the same amount of money because there is no state tax. I want to get paid. But I think a lot of these players see the Panthers as a winning organization. They have the blueprint to make it to repeated Stanley Cup finals. That's what makes this place attractive. It's the lifestyle too. It's the culture. I've said this so many times in my last few episodes. That's what makes this place attractive. I think they could go after him if they don't sign Marchand. We'll see. Again, I think Bennett is pretty much going to be a done deal. How much he takes, we will see. I would say hopefully if he does take a little more of a hometown discount at $7 million, that opens up the door to actually re-sign both Marchand and Ekblad, because they'll still have $12 million in cap room if he signs for $7 million. Could be done. It could be done. So getting back into this again. So in 2023-2024, he did have 60 points in 69 games with San Jose. And between San Jose and Dallas this year, 22 goals, 66 points in total. Very solid year. He's good for probably a second or third line center. Again, I'm just kind of speculating. This is all hypotheticals. And in terms of evolving hockey, put out there that he could sign a 5-year deal that has a cap hit per year of around $7 million. I think that's a little generous. The one that's more realistic is maybe doing a 2-year deal for just under $5 million. That seems more realistic. I don't think anybody should really take a risk on a player who's getting up there in age. Yes, he's had some really solid seasons over the last couple of years, and I'm going to show you the graphics right now of what he did this past year. So technically 83 games because he kind of doubled over, and that extra game came in after he got traded. So 22 goals, 44 assists, 66 points, 169 shots. Plus minus broke even at 0, 19 and a half minutes on ice. So shoots 13%. CF is at 44.2% this year, and his expected plus minus, unfortunately, is minus 11. But he's done a great job this year. That veteran presence, his knowledge of playing the game. He's a great player, guys. I think he would be a tremendous pickup for the Panthers. I mean, you could look at this here. Just look at the years. Bounced around a lot. I don't think him coming to the Panthers again, maybe playing with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder and saying, I put up these great numbers. Let me sign somewhere where we can really contend and I can really help out with a winning organization. So I think there is a good chance that he comes here if we don't find someone else or we don't sign Brad Marchand. So the next guy up on the docket, Cody Glass. I love this kid because he's only 26. He's only 26. His numbers might not scream out that he's this incredible young player. Not by any means. But he's big. He's 6'3", 200 pounds. That's a big guy. And if he's working in this organization and comes here, they're going to teach him how to be a better player in front of the net. I mean, that big body can probably put up some damn good screens all the time. And if he's able to get that hand-eye coordination better, he can knock him into the back of the net, I'm sure, pretty easily. And he can knock some guys around, So I like the fact that he can be molded. He's young. They could sign him for a 5-year deal, 6-year deal. And I'll talk to you guys about the numbers in just a second. But Regular season, 6 goals, 16 assists, plus minus of -5, 16 penalty minutes. Time on ice is just over 13 and a half minutes. Not terrible numbers. In 22-23, he had 14 goals, 21 assists in 72 games. Much better numbers, so he's had a dip. In 23-24, only 6 goals and 7 assists in 41 games played. He did have some shoulder and knee injuries that he has dealt with in his career, but again, he's a young guy. I think the Panthers organization could say, hey, look, we can go younger. We could probably get him for a good price. We could mold him. He could stay here. And they got him after the trade deadline, excuse me. After the trade deadline, he only had 2 goals and 5 assists in 14 games. And he is a good faceoff guy. Not the greatest, but he can get in the circle with the best of them. 64 faceoff wins, a 47.7 faceoff win percentage. So there is some work to do with Cody Glass. Obviously, you can see the numbers here. Nothing here screams out this incredible player, except in 2022-2023 with that 14 and 21 year that he had. In the playoffs, hasn't really done much. Hasn't really been on a lot of playoff contenders. Hasn't played a whole lot of minutes in the playoffs. He needs the experience. I think if he comes to this team, the veterans around him will make him better. Just like Brad Marchand made Lundell and Lustranen better. That's what can happen if Cody Glass comes to this team. Again, a young kid, can be molded, has a lot to learn, needs some work. But I don't think the Panthers organization would turn their head and say, we don't want this kid because of whatever, XYZ needs this. That's part of the beauty of the NHL and being on a great team is the ability for the veterans and the coaching staff to work with these young kids, get them to be the best that they can be. And that's what the Panthers have done for a lot of these free agents that have come over. Even from the trade deadlines, a lot of these guys, again, Bill Zito finds guys with chips on their shoulders, something to prove, have to get better, have had slumps in their careers and want to pick it back up. They bring out the best in all the players. And Nate Schmidt is one of those guys. And I really hope we could hold on to him. Again, a conversation for a different day. So, Cody Glass. Well, let's take a look at him in terms of most of his graphics. His stat line. So here we go. 65 games, 6 and 16, 91 shots, plus minus of -5, unfortunately, but he shoots at 6.6% on the season, a CF of 55.2. Plus minus is at 5.4. Young guy. So I gave you a veteran in Mikael Granlund, and now I'm giving you a younger player that could be molded in Cody Glass. Potential is there. Needs some work. Yes. The thing that I like is that you can sign him for $2 million a year. That is the beauty of this guy, and you don't have to take a long-term risk on him and do an 8-7-year deal. You can do a 3 to 4 year deal, maybe 5-year deal, and see what can happen with him. Can you mold him? Can you get him to come out and be the best player that he can be? I think it is a very real possibility that could happen, guys. So we're going to come back here now and move on to our next player, Morgan Geekie. The man that has the most unique name in all of hockey, well, at least his last name. I like this kid too. He's a year older. He's going to be 27. Not a year older. I'm sorry. He's the same age right now at 26, turning 27 next month. Another big dude, 6'3", 208 pounds. What's beautiful about this, even if, if Brad Marchand stays, he's not a bad kid to bring in if we lose another center, but he is going to be a little more costly because he had one heck of a year this year. He's had a career year, and he hasn't played that much. He's only been here since the 2019-2020 season, so he's got 6 years under his belt. But man, did he have a great year this year, guys. 33 goals, 24 assists, a plus minus of +3, 22 penalty minutes, and almost 17 minutes of time on ice per game. He is a big guy. He's played with Brad Marchand. That's why I'm like, if he comes onto the squad, it might not be a bad thing to pair him up, or not necessarily pair him up on the same line as Brad Marchand, but he would be an additional, just an addition to this team to really beef them up. Another big guy out there that could stand in front of the net and put up some pretty nasty screens in front of any goaltender of any size. I love the fact that he is going to be a free agent. He did get some good news, which I don't really want to get into. Contract, was it $5 million? It's in arbitration right now, but the current deal that he was on was $2 million per year. Because of his great play, it looks like his average for per year pay, his AAV is around $5 million right now because of his great play this past year. I don't think the Boston's going to let him walk. I think they're going to try to talk something out, but as of right now, the contract talks between him and Boston have kind of been few, far, and in between. I think they're still kind of waiting to see what happens in arbitration and everything. But his postseason career in 23-24, obviously they weren't in the postseason this past year. So in 23-24, 4 goals, 1 assist in 13 games, 6 penalty minutes, time on ice of just over 16 and a half minutes. So I like Geekie a lot just because, again, a younger guy, big body, and he had a great year this past year. He could be somewhat of a difference maker because, again, another kid that can be molded. Let him understand that he could still have the season that he just had this past year and keep being at this great higher end of hockey that he's able to play at such a young age. And he can do it, hopefully, for a long period of time. On the Boston Bruins, I don't know. They're in that rebuilding phase as of right now. So 77 games, 33 goals, 24 assists. My goodness, great year for him. Plus minus a 3, just under 17 minutes of ice time. Again, CF percentage is 49.8. Awesome numbers for him, shooting at 22% on the season. That's a pretty high number for Morgan Geekie. And he's just one of those guys that when I was looking over his numbers and looking at the way that he plays, and he only had 1 goal and 1 assist against the Panthers in the 4 games that they faced off, but he's always kind of been this thorn in the side for the Panthers when I see him play. He's throwing his body around. He's wreaking havoc in a lot of different areas. He's great on the forecheck. He really gets into the corners and scraps with the guys trying to fight for those pucks. You know, he's really great too on defense. He's a pretty good defender considering all that is there for the defense that Boston had. I was going to try to throw up some of the numbers for his block shots, you know, but he will sacrifice the body, get into the passing lanes. He likes being in front of the net. He's a great player. I think his hockey IQ fits in with the team. I think he's one of those guys that will be very similar to a Nate Schmidt in terms of the mentality that he has. I do think he's still going to have something to prove because that was one really solid year this past year that he had. And I think he's going to come out next year and say, I still have more to prove. I want to show the league that I am one of the top 10 centers, if not 15 best centers. I don't want to go that high and say maybe top 10 because there's a lot of good centers out there. But he can be up there with some of the best and be compared to some of the best in the league. I mean, that's a heck of a season that he just had at only 26 years old. So, guys, there are options out there for the Panthers that could work within those cap numbers that we have, that $19 million of cap room. But I have faith in Zito. A lot of Panthers Nation has faith in Bill Zito because he does have some sort of a plan. He does believe he can sign Ekblad, Bennett, and Marchand and have them return. The problem is going to be we need a backup goaltender. That's the thing that needs to be addressed. Vanacek is going to be gone. We've got to find a backup for Bob. And how long is Bob going to stay playing? He's getting older. He's playing the best hockey of his career, indeed. But how much longer does he have to keep going with this? I mean, I hope he's still, he looks like he's got 3 or 4 more years left, but that's a decision he's going to have to make about when he wants to retire, when's he going to hang up the skates. We'll see. But that's another topic for another day. But I see that there are options out there for the Panthers to move forward and get different centers. We're going to focus on wingers next episode, and I'm going to start digging a little bit deeper into those guys. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next couple of weeks. I think we see Bennett sign first. After that, I think it's going to be Marchand. We're going to see if he makes a statement because it was kind of weird not hearing him say a whole lot about what he's thinking when he was on stage for the celebration of like, what's he going to do? But I think he's enjoying the moment. I don't see why he should leave. Everything that he would want to be on a winning team is here. They're going to have pretty much the same roster going into next season, except for a few holes a little bit down into the bottom of the roster. But there is still an incredible chance that this team could do a three-peat. I know it's incredibly hard to do that. Not many teams have done it, especially in this age, especially after the salary cap era began, It's never been done. So we'll see what happens, guys. But anyways, those are some of the options that are out there. I know there's so many more guys, but those are the 3 that really caught my eye. But anyways, Everybody, Panthers Nation, enjoy the celebrating. If you're still doing it, awesome. Enjoy it while you can. There's still a lot more that's going to be breaking about the Florida Panthers and signing some of these guys. We'll find out. And when it does break, I will let you guys know. Until the next episode, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm your host, Greg Andrews. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. I would really appreciate it. Remember, I'm trying to get to 2,000 subscribers in the next couple of weeks. Guys, thank you so much for your time on this episode of Panthers Digest. Go Cats!